Can this $30 stylus for the iPad replace your Apple Pencil? Absolutely not. That being said, there are some surprising reasons to consider the more budget-friendly Metapen D1 for your digital illustration toolkit. In this review, we'll explore the pros and cons of the Metapen D1, why it might be surprisingly useful, and why it's not a worthy alternative to the Apple Pencil. But before we dive in, just a quick note, this review is comparing the Metapen D1 to the Apple Pencil and not to other Apple Pencil alternatives. And all of this is from my unique perspective as an illustrator who uses the Apple Pencil every single day. Hello, my name is Mr. Tom Froese. Welcome to this channel and the home of the Thoughts on Illustration podcast. As an illustrator and Skillshare teacher, when Metapen asked me to review the D1 pencil, I thought maybe it would be a more affordable alternative to the Apple Pencil that I could recommend to my listeners and to my students. While disappointingly it isn't, I still think there's some interesting possibilities. The Metapen D1 is a budget-friendly stylus designed for use with iPads. It offers several features that might catch your attention, so let's explore them. Let's start by taking a look at some of the pros of Metapen D1. First and foremost, the Metapen D1 comes at a much more affordable price than the Apple Pencil. It's a budget-friendly option for those looking to get started with digital illustration. The D1 offers tilt sensitivity, allowing you to create different line variations by adjusting the angle of the stylus while you're drawing. It features a customizable function button that can be handy for certain tasks, although it might not be a game changer for everyone. The Metapen D1 has its own dedicated app which offers app-specific features and customization options for a more tailored experience. It boasts a comfortable grip and offers palm rejection, ensuring a smooth and comfortable drawing experience. If you tend to misplace your stylus often, the D1 has a handy feature that helps you locate it via its app. The Metapen D1 is compatible across various iPad models, making it a versatile option for a wide range of users. Now, let's discuss some of the cons of the Metapen D1, especially when comparing it to the Apple Pencil. So, the most significant drawback here is that there's no pressure sensitivity. This can be a deal breaker for many artists as it limits your ability to create nuanced and detailed drawings. Additionally, it offers a shorter battery life, lasting around 8 hours compared to Apple Pencil's 12 hours. Now, 8 hours is still a long time, but the 4 extra hours on the Apple Pencil is nothing to shrug at. Unlike the Apple Pencil, which charges wirelessly and magnetically, the Metapen D1 requires a cord for charging, which can feel a little bit outdated. Setting up the Metapen D1 with Bluetooth might feel less intuitive if you're used to the instant connection of the Apple Pencil. Now, let me share my personal experience with the Metapen D1 as an illustrator. So the D1 does come in decent packaging. It reminds me a lot of the Apple Pencil packaging. The box is about the same size. The D1 pen itself is comfortable to hold, although it doesn't have the same premium feel as the Apple Pencil. The charging port on the D1 might seem odd, but it's actually more practical than Apple Pencil's approach when you think of the G1, the Generation 1 Apple Pencil, and they had that awkward kind of plug thing on the top of the pencil, and you had to have like a dongle attachment in order to connect it to your lightning cable. I actually think the Metapen approach here is more elegant, surprisingly. So now let's talk about using the Metapen D1. As expected, the absence of pressure sensitivity makes the D1 feel very limited. In Procreate, the built-in pressure wasn't sufficient for certain brushes, and it makes them kind of feel weak, like the line just doesn't go on very strong, it's very light. On the other hand, when I'm using the D1 pen in Photoshop, and I do this via Astropad, it's almost the complete opposite, with brushes going down at maximum pressure. However, there is a surprising use case for the D1. After getting over my disappointment about the lack of pressure sensitivity, I started to ask an interesting question. Are there times when you actually don't want or need pressure sensitivity in your stylus when you're drawing or illustrating? The answer might be yes. So sometimes you might want an even quality in your line without any variation in thickness, opacity, or texture quality. A single line width could also be really useful for lettering styles that require a uniform stroke width. If you look out in the wild, some designers create logos and entire brands using just a single line weight. This can also create an interesting stylistic choice. All illustration styles are based on certain constraints that we either choose on purpose or which come built into the media we use. Not having pressure sensitivity could be one such constraint. Finally, having one line width throughout an illustration or design will automatically bring more unity to the work. To learn more about unity and other compositional principles, I have an entire Skillshare class called Composition for Illustrators. I'll leave a link to the class in the description. If you use that link, you'll get 30 days free on Skillshare. So, who is the Metapen D1 really designed for? While it's marketed for creatives, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the D1 for serious illustrators or artists who require pressure sensitivity. If you're in this category, saving up for an Apple Pencil is likely the better choice. The Metapen D1 could be better suited for individuals who primarily write on their iPads or those who simply need a stylus for general use without the need for advanced drawing capabilities. It might also serve as an alternative for creators working extensively with vectors or the pen tool, as well as those looking for an alternative to a mouse, especially when used in conjunction with apps like Astropad Studio. Lastly, for illustrators, the D1 could be a fun tool to experiment with as a deliberate stylistic constraint, especially for projects where consistent line quality is desired and you don't want to have to think about how much pressure you're putting into the pen at a given moment, if that uniformity is what you want. In summary, the main benefits of the Metapen D1 for illustrators, aside from its affordability, are actually the sort of flip side of its disadvantages. So the fact that it doesn't have pressure sensitivity might be exactly what you're looking for, and in this case, the Metapen D1 is great for that. While you can adjust brush settings in Photoshop or Procreate to not have any pressure sensitivity while using your Apple Pencil, you do have to go in and change those settings for every single brush that you have, and that can be kind of annoying. Having that built right into the hardware, like into the stylus that you're using, could be a real time saver. So how much does the Metapen D1 cost? You can find it on Amazon for around 37 Canadian dollars, which is roughly 27 or 28 US dollars at the time of this recording. Compared to the Apple Pencil, which ranges from 129 to 169 Canadian dollars, this makes the Metapen D1 about a fifth of the price. So for the final verdict, is the Metapen D1 worth considering? Well, it depends on your specific needs and your priorities. If you've already invested in an iPad, I imagine it's not that big of a jump to buy the Apple Pencil as well. Basically, if you can afford an iPad, you could probably afford an Apple Pencil, especially if you're a serious illustrator or hoping to get to that point. There's just nothing that comes close to the quality and precision of an Apple Pencil. After all, it was designed for the iPad and the iPad was designed for it. However, if you're in a situation where budget is a significant concern, or if you're looking for a stylus primarily for writing, general use, or certain types of vector work, the Metapen D1 could be a viable, cost-effective option. I just don't think you're going to get very far having this product alone, even as a beginner illustrator, and this is because pressure sensitivity is absolutely essential. But having a stylus like the D1 in your collection might still find surprising use in specific scenarios as the ones I mentioned in this video. And that wraps up our review of the Metapen D1 stylus for the iPad. If you found this video helpful, please like it and let me know what you think in the comments. Do you use something other than the Apple Pencil? If so, what is it? Please be sure to subscribe for bi-weekly episodes of my podcast, Thoughts on Illustration, and future reviews like this. Thanks to the kind folks at Metapen for sending me a product so that I could review it, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.